Hey, thank you so much, and thank you for giving me your time this afternoon. Let me just rotate my slides. Just a quick disclaimer that the material presented is for educational purposes only. We're not certified financial planners or money managers, and never miss more than 2% of your account in any trade. Do your own due diligence and consult a financial advisor prior to making any trading decisions. With that said, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'd like to move pretty quickly because I have a lot to show you on a great trading system that, I kid you not, I'm going to show you. We made $550 this morning in about 25 minutes. I have 125 traders in our trading room. I'm calling it a cash machine, and I'm not kidding you. I want to go through it and show you how it works, and then I want to rotate off my slides and show you a live market and show you some of the signals. I'm a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, former professor at Jefferson College in Philadelphia. I published close to 15 peer-reviewed articles in first-tier journals, and I've been involved in the financial markets for over 20 years. Right line trading, we look at price action, market structure, and indicator algorithms. And what we do is we look at day trading as a science, not as an art. All our indicators are created via the use of mathematical modeling. We look at closed systems. We look at each financial instrument as an individual closed system, and the way that any individual financial market moves, or the direction that price moves, is ultimately caused by by forces defined as multivariable, as independent variables. I'm mixing up my words here a little bit. We put those into a multivariable equation, we optimize it, and this is how we get our software. Now, our Uni-Renko trading system, I really believe, is unlike any other trading system you will have seen in the past. It gives you precision, exact entries that are software generated and that work. And we have many funded top step traders who use our Uni-Renko trading system. Now, why is it so good? What makes it what I believe to be one of the best trading platforms out there? Again, the software was created via the use of mathematical modeling techniques. And we use computer-driven algorithms. This is the same science that is used by Google, Facebook, and almost all tech companies. And the software is generated to predict the future movement of a dependent variable, which is price, in a closed system, which is a financial market. Now, all the indicators we use, and I'm going to show you this, have forward-looking ability. None of them are lagging. The sum total of all the indicators that we use give you an incredibly precise prediction for how price is going to move out into the future. Now, the closed system could be any financial instrument. I'm going to show you a stock. I'm going to show you futures markets. I don't have time to show you Forex. But as I mentioned, all the indicators have forward-looking ability. They lead price. They do not lag price. The software itself is purposed to predict the future movement of price. Now, for a long time, I was trading range bars. And the reason I like them is because they show price action. But I've become a Uni-Renko convert. Now, what these both have in common is they're both time and tick independent. But what Uni-Renko does is it eliminates choppiness and really smooths out price. Now, I want to show you The weaknesses of Uni-Renko. Now, the big weakness is that it obliterates price action. For any given candle, you really can't tell who's in control of the market, or the bulls or the bears. You cannot evaluate Japanese candlestick patterns. You can't tell if they have an engulfing candle, a dark cloud cover, a piercing candle, a doji. And that actually detracts from Uni-Renko or any Renko kind of derivative, whether it's Wicked Renko, and I think there are many Renko derivatives. You cannot discern between a rising and falling triangle pattern, or really very clearly see channels. So in order to be able to trade Uni-Renko, and what most software vendors do, is they show you Uni-Renko or Renko bars during periods of during trending. They don't show you them during chop. So in order to be able to avoid chop, you really have to have very powerful leading indicators to signal an entry, and a series of indicators that will allow you to very, very successfully avoid trading chop because you cannot see price action. It also, to some extent, obliterates market structure, but not completely. Now, the strengths are that it does filter out noise. And if you combine that with powerful leading indicators that signal an entry, they do create superior trading opportunities. Now, the thing about Uni-Renko is that each Uni-Renko chart has to be optimized for the individual market that you're trading. And that has to be based on the average true range or on the volatility of the particular instrument that you're trading. So if you're trading a particular stock, we have to give you an input that's been optimized for the volatility of that stock. Now, I wanted to show you the whole system. Now, it's really not as complicated as this seems, because a lot of this information we're able to sort of melt away and project onto the price bars. But this is the entire analysis. And this is actually 4 sequential system generated entries. Triangles are not put in here by myself. They're generated by the software. Here's an entry here, an entry here, an entry here, and an entry here. Again, these are 2 sequential system generated entries. I'm going to show you quickly the meaning of the dots, the background bias, and all of this craziness here, most of which we're able to eliminate. Now, I want to quickly go over one of the most powerful indicators that we have. Boy, the E-mini is just shooting down now. It's called our 3 line. Now, the first line does a multi-time frame assessment of momentum. The second line does a multi-time frame assessment of stochastic. The third line does a multi-time frame assessment of order flow. And I know that I only have 45 minutes, so I want to go over these relatively quickly. Now, first, let's go over order flow. Now, order flow is an extremely important metric. And if you have a handle on order flow, you're going to know who's in control of the market at any given time, whether it's the bulls or the bears. Now, every candle, I believe you know, has a market delta. Now, the delta tells you the disparity between the number of aggressive buyers versus the number of aggressive sellers in any given candle. This candle is negative 1480. It has a significant overabundance of aggressive sellers. This is 348, an overabundance of aggressive buyers. So this does give you a lot of information about who is in control at any given time in the market. Now, if you use the delta of each candle of your trading chart, it doesn't give you any forward-looking ability. In addition, the problem with the delta and what most platforms and software use is the delta of the candles of your trading chart. And here's what you get. You simply get, I'm just getting a lot of signals in my ear because the E-mini is just coming down real hard, and it's triggering a lot of audible alerts. What you get is simply that absolute value traced down below the candles. Now the problem is twofold. First is that occasionally you're going to get a positive delta on a down candle, and occasionally you're going to get a negative delta on an up candle. There's just a lot of absorption of sellers here. So even though there was an overabundance of sellers, the candle was still allowed to close to the upside. So the predictive value of the delta is really diminished if you look at it on your trading chart. So what we do is we look at it on the two higher Uni-Renko time frames. Now Uni-Renko is not a time-based chart, so it's simply, we use a multiplier. And what we do is we look at the delta of each candle on the two higher or slower Uni-Renko charts. One is a multiplier of 3 and one a multiplier of 9. And we place each of those delta values generated by each of those candles into a 15-period simple moving average. And because the data is smooth, occasionally when you get a positive delta on a down candle or a negative delta on an up candle, that 15-period smooths it. So when both 15-period SMAs are sloping up on the two higher time frames, you know that the bulls are firmly in control of the market, and our order flow line is going to be green. When both 15-period SMAs are sloping down, you know that there's a significant amount of selling pressure in the market, and the order flow line is red. Now, because the assessment is based on the higher time frames, I mean, it takes longer for each of these Renko bars to form, or Uni-Renko bars to form, then it really does have forward-looking ability. Now, to give you just a couple of quick examples, here is just the order flow line. When the order flow line is green, it means that there's a significant amount of buying pressure in the market. You must trade long. When it's red, you must trade short. Here it's green, up. You really don't have anything here. And this is really would define more of a choppy market. Now again, this is a great way of analyzing chop because you get very poor alignment on the order flow line when you're trying to take a trade. You're going to see that in addition to order flow, you're going to have stochastic and you're going to have momentum, and they all need to align in the appropriate direction. But this three-line indicator really does a great job of allowing you to avoid chop. In these short periods, right here, you have absolutely no trades, no alignment between order flow and price. And right here you do, and you get a short trade, and right here you do, you get a long trade. Otherwise, there's absolutely nothing that you can trade here. Again, when the bulls are in firm control of the market, could you hold on for 1 second? So when the bulls are in firm control of the market, price is going to rise. When bears are in control of the market, price is going to fall. Now remember, this is not looking at any data coming from your trading chart. It's looking at data from the 2 higher term time frames. Now the MACD is the way we assess momentum. And we look at the multiplier or 2 longer term time frame Renko charts or Uni-Renko charts. When the MACD line is accelerating away from the signal line on both higher term time frame Uni-Renkos, then momentum is to the upside or positive, and price is going to rise. When the MACD line is accelerating towards the signal line, then slope is negative, and the line is going to be red. Just to recap, it looks at the slope of the momentum line on the 2 higher, 3 times and 9 times slower Uni-Renko charts. When both momentum lines, which are assessed off the MACD, are accelerating away from the signal line, it's green. When both momentum lines are accelerating towards the signal line, it's red. Now, when they're not in sync, when one line's going up and one line's going down and they're not in agreement, then the momentum line is yellow. So now we have 2 independent variables. We have order flow and we have momentum. When they're both aligned to the downside, you can only trade short. When they're both aligned to the upside, you can only trade long. Now, if you try to counter trend trade against this direction, you're almost always going to get stopped out. When both are aligned to the downside, you can only trade short. Upside, long. And when they are not in sync, when they don't correlate in color, this is when you stand aside, you have no trade. For us, that defines chop. Now, price may fall, and there may be a potential trade, but entering in this area has a significant amount of risk. And the one thing that we want to do when we day trade or swing trade is that we want to avoid any potential risk in the market. Remember, one line is telling us who's in control, the buyers or the sellers, and the other on a multi-time frame basis is assessing momentum for us. And finally, so here's another example. Here we have chop, very little alignment of order flow and momentum. Here is where you have order flow and momentum aligned to the upside, and you can go long. And you see that these lines turn green before price does. I'm going to show you that on the chart over and over again. These are able to look ahead, and they're going to tell you when price is going to turn. Here, in this area here, long only, and price turns up. Here, long only, and price turns up. So at every pivot, it tells you the direction to trade as long as both colors correlate. Again, long only, awful chop here. You just stand aside. Only long, there's your long trade. Perfect long trade. Now the stochastic line is the last one. And again, it does its assessment from the 2 higher time frames on Uni-Renko charts. And here's how we define it for our purposes. When both stochastic lines are overbought or greater than 80, the line is always green. When both stochastic lines are oversold or less than 20, the line is always red. Between 20 and 80, when the stochastic line is above the signal line, then our stochastic line will be green. When both stochastic lines are below the signal line, then the line is red. And when the stochastic lines are not in agreement, the line is yellow. So now, this is when the stochastic line would be always green. Does not matter the position of the stochastic line versus the signal line. If it's in overbought territory, the bulls are firmly in control. When it's oversold, the bears are firmly in control, and the line's always red. In between the 20 and the 80 line, the color will depend upon whether or not the stochastic line is above the signal line like it is here, or below the signal line like it is here. So now we have three colors, and obviously it becomes difficult to track them. Remember, they're calculating and recalculating intra-candle. So it may be difficult to have your cursor here and to make an assessment of whether you have all green or there's a blip of red here. So what we do is we simply project the results of the three line directly onto the candles, making the assessment easy. So here's what we do. We create candle halos. And when the candle halo is yellow, the three line indicator is aligned to the downside. When there's a blue halo, and you can change the thickness and the color of the halo, the three line indicator is aligned up. You can modify the color and the thickness of the candle halo. Now, when it's black, there is no alignment at all. So what we do then is we eliminate the three line. Well, I haven't eliminated it yet. I just wanted to show you this. As we get to the top here, this yellow halo on an up candle comes before the turn of price. So price moves up, the three line is now pointing down, and price falls. We move to the upside, the three line turns down first, and then price falls. Here you get a pull up or a pullback. It's still on a line, three line to the downside, so you have no trade long, and you take the rollover and continue to trade short. So not only is it absolutely extremely powerful in giving you a direction, it leads price. It's going to change before price does, because it's going to predict for you where price is going. Now, we want to make the workspace as clean as possible, so what we do is we make the lines transparent, because all the data is projected right onto the candles. So the three line has disappeared. It's on your chart, but they're transparent. So here, there's no entry. Here, on a down candle, we get an up three line. We finally get an up candle, and up we go. Here, we get a move to the downside. There's no three line. Three line turns blue. We get an up candle, up it goes. Here, on an up candle, we get a down three line, and down price goes. This is a true leading indicator. Now, the next indicator I want to go through for you is called the RL dots. Now, let's say that you're trading the E-mini, for instance, you would also like to know the multi-time frame direction of the NASDAQ and the Russell. Now, why is that? Simply because they move in the same direction over 80% of the time. So if you take a short trade on the E-mini, you'd also like to see the NASDAQ and the Russell on a multi-time frame basis, also heading to the downside. This is going to increase the predictive value of a trading entry that you take on the E-mini to well over 80%. So what we do is we've created dots. Again, we want to keep the workspace clean and easy to interpret. So when the multi-time frame direction of the Russell and the NASDAQ are both strongly to the downside, you're going to get this dark, I guess it's a dark red dot. This is a weaker multi-time frame downtrend, and the weakest multi-time frame downtrend. Here's the strongest multi-time frame uptrend, and then weaker and weaker still. But when there's no dots, there's no alignment at all. So here's a trade, and these are taken right off the charts because I'm going to show you these charts live. These dots are telling you that the E-mini is moving up, but the NASDAQ and Russell also have a multi-time frame alignment to the upside and are moving up. When you get these two down candles, you know you can't trade them short because the NASDAQ and the Russell are heading long, and you get the perfect continuation trade on the E-mini, and up you go. Now, you can take a counter trend trade. It actually was successful, but that's irrelevant. At entry, the NASDAQ and the Russell are heading to the upside. They're still heading to the upside. You just got a trend reversal. The dots disappeared, but the entry is extremely risky, so you don't take it. And here's another validation on a continuation trade, and we take these all the time. Man, I wish the E-mini wasn't going so crazy because I'm getting an audible alert like every 2 seconds. Here's the weakest multi-time frame downtrend, and now it just goes right to the strongest. Now we're not going to look at the entry here. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the continuation trade. We get a move up, a retracement, and then the question is whether you're going to take this further down on the E-mini. The dot telling you that the NASDAQ and Russell are still in a multi-time frame alignment to the downside is the killer, and it's going to pull that E-mini down with it. They're all going to go down together. So it validates the success of a continuation trade. Now, also, the mandate is that the 3 line is going to have this candle haloed in yellow. We're just assessing each independent indicator on its own right now, and later on we're going to put them together. But if you have the 3 line aligned to the downside as a forward-looking analysis, the E-mini, the NASDAQ and the Russell in a multi-time frame downtrend, this E-mini is on its way down. And here's another example. These are system-generated entries long. This is a pullback continuation with the NASDAQ and Russell, pullback continuation with the NASDAQ and Russell in your direction on a multi-time frame basis. No dots here. Also help define chop along with the 3 line. And because chop really is the downfall of Renko and Uni-Renko. If you can avoid trading chop, you're going to get these fabulous trend trades. Another example, move to the downside, system generated entry short, validated with a dot, can't take the counter trend because moving against the multi-time frame direction of the NASDAQ and the Russell. And then on the continuation short, you've got a great trade. No counter trend, and you can take the continuation short. Now, this one doesn't go anywhere, but this is an oversold signal. Again, oscillator gives you a short signal. You can't take it. All you can take is the oscillator signal long as a continuation to the upside. Now let's put them together. I just want to watch my time. Already at 1:30. Here's the move down, the continuation. And you don't have a 3 line, so there's no trade. Now, I'm not going to go through this because of the time, but I put this up to show you what happens in chop and how when you have chop, you're either going to have dots sitting on a long trade or the 3 line doesn't align. This is no trade, no trade, no trade, no trade. Here's your trade short, dot, 3 line and down, no trade again, dot, 3 line and down. Throughout all of these pivots, up, down, up, down, up, down, you get no alignment and no trade. It allows you to avoid trading chop really, really with great precision. Something will not align. Either you're going to be sitting on red dots for a long trade, or the 3 line won't align. Something will be off, and you won't be able to take the trade. Now, our last is our money flow indicator. It's optimized to determine money flow in the direction on that individual instrument. Every single futures market, forex market, and stock has its own indicator. The middle line on the E-mini is the most important, but the upper line and bottom also have relevance. When you have that middle line, it means that money is flowing out of this financial instrument. It is extremely precise, and it's telling you that the price is going to fall. Price is going to rise. Now, it's not doing any assessment of price on your trading chart. It's looking at multiple correlative markets. I don't have the time to go into explaining the mechanics of the indicator, but all of these indicators, what makes them independent is that they don't look at price on your trading chart. This price rising doesn't turn this green. This turning green pushes price up. No alignment in chop. Money flow has no alignment. Another way of avoiding chop. And then finally, we use an exponential oscillator. When the oscillator line crosses the 50 line, it generates an up. When the oscillator line crosses it to the downside, it generates a down signal. Here's another down signal. Here's another up signal. They are very accurate. Now, this is oversold because these are up triangles that are red. And when the line falls below the 20 line, you're going to get these oversold signals here and here. So let's put it all together and take a look at the whole system. Now, here's a short trade. You've got your oscillator signal, your dot, your 3 line. Remember that intermediate or middle line? And down you go. Now, you can ride this trade all the way down because you never lose the dots. Although here we're trading the E-mini, the multi-time frame direction of the NASDAQ and the Russell never let up. You can't take a long trade because they're sitting on these green candles all the way down. In fact, it goes even lower. It's an 85 tick trade. And there's no way that you're going to get out of this trade. You're going to ride it all the way down. Here's a trade to the downside. You have no trade here because you have no line here. Here's your trade to the upside with the dots. Here, continuation trade, no 3 line. You can't take it. Here, you have your middle line and your upper line. Money flow is strong here. Up you go for a small win. So you don't have the 3 line aligned here. You can't take it. You can't take this short. Look at the dot. Here's your long trade. Here's your second long trade. Everything else cannot be traded. And this was traded. We made $3,860 on one trade. I didn't track it, but it kept going lower and lower and lower. We never lost the dots on the entire trade down. Another trade long. All 3 money flow lines are up, dots, 3 line, continuation trade to the upside. This is a counter trend trade There's the oscillator signal, 3 lines aligned to the downside, money flow, that middle line is red. There's your trade short. Whoops. So let me go to the live charts. And let's take a look. Right here, I just happened to throw up Costco. Here's your trade on Costco. Right here. Perfect alignment to the downside. There's your money flow. There's only 1 line on Costco. It's red. 3 lines aligned to the downside. There's your entry. Oscillator signal right there. Now there's your counter trend trade right here. And up you go. Now here you don't have the money line. This is yellow. You have to stand down. Now let me show you the E-mini. This morning we just killed it on the E-mini. Actually, you know what? This morning, I mean, we've got. This is from teaching in the room. We had no long trade here because our major money line here was red, and it prevented us from taking this perfect trade long. We just couldn't get into it. Then this trade here, we also couldn't get into because this intermediate line was not green. And we just didn't get good alignment until we got to here. And that was our perfect short trade at 1322. Now we were long done with the market. But this was our short trade. And this wasn't a big trade. It went for 2 points. Now the thing is, you could take the trade here again as the continuation and take it all the way down. Now, I want to just show you crude quickly, because crude is what I traded this morning. I had 3 trades and 3 winners. I mean, we're done. And I'll show you right here. Here's our, we put everything on our automated trade management thing. Everything is projected in the room. And we made $540 on 3 trades. And here it is on the dome. So let me see here what happened to crude and why the dots are flying off into space. Oh, I see what happened. All right, I'm sorry, I have to reload the template really quickly. Excuse me. When I went from stocks back to futures, I have to reload it. No, you know what it is? These are the dots from Costco, and they're not coming off the chart. So they're going to be a problem. I'd have to create a new. Let me just go back further and see if they continue to print. I can't get them off, and they're pushing our price down, unfortunately. Let me open this up. I can't do it. All right, you know what? I'm going to have to put crude here. Geez. What I'm going to do is have to make a new crude chart, but I don't have the time to do that. So let me put crude here. It's not going to be perfect because of the fact that I don't have the right quant line for money flow. But at least we won't have to deal with the Costco dots. No, we have to deal with the E-mini dots. Okay, so I can't change the instruments in a live market in the middle. So I'm a little bit stuck in rotating to other instruments. I think I can still show you our trades today on crude, I believe. Let me me see if I can, let me see. No, I can't. Because we had 3 perfect trades today, but you just can't see them. And what I would do is I have to close and open the program.
5 minutes.
Okay. So let me go back to the slides. Now we had 3 trades, 3 winners this morning for $540. And we make money almost every single day. We have 125 traders in the room. And I want to show you our offer. And then I do want to desperately try to get to some questions, and I only have 2 or 3 minutes for it. Move a little faster here. I've never had my PowerPoint give me a problem. Okay. Now, the Uni-Renko system is normally $2,900 lifetime. The webinar special's $1,199 lifetime, includes all future upgrades and add-ons, and we're adding on a lot. We have the our dots, which on the E-mini or the multi-time frame direction of the NASDAQ and the Russell, only on the E-mini. We're going to be adding them to crude. We're going to be adding to gold. We're going to be adding them to the NASDAQ and the Dow. So we're going to have a lot of upgrades. The first 10 orders get a month in the live trading room with me. I make about $400 to $500 a day, almost every day. Every now and then we don't do it, but pretty consistently we do. You're also going to get access to a 10-module weekly educational training session and a video tutorial library that has about 450 videos in it. Now, let me quickly see if I can get to some questions. I have 1 minute, and I'll answer as many questions as I can in that 1 minute. If you have any others, let me just move to this slide. That's our phone number, and you can call us. Hang on 1 second here. Bill, we will configure that for you. We'll let you know. It's very simple. Sergio, who has a master's in computer science, does all of the installation. You don't have to worry about any of that. And we have a lot of traders on it, and believe me, including me, I have almost no tech savvy whatsoever. It's a very, very simple platform to configure. The only thing you need from us is if you trade stocks and you trade a whole basket of different stocks, we'll give the Uni-Renko settings to use. Otherwise, it's extremely easy to use. So that's the only question. With that said, I hope you'll come aboard. I mean, the system gives you extremely accurate entries. And I think it will make, together, we will make really, really good money. We trade it in the room live. And like I said, we make money almost every day. So take care. Have a wonderful afternoon. And I look forward to seeing you. And no matter what, I wish you the best of luck.